Hello lovelies, welcome back to the Lovely Digest here on YouTube. If you're new here, hi, my name is Emily. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm excited for this video. I personally love to pack and love going on vacations, but it can get really stressful. I found that it's gotten so stressful since having a chronic illness. So I just wanted to share some of my tips and tricks on how to plan for long trips in a minimalist way. If you're looking for a video where I just say I'm bringing toothpaste and a toothbrush and that's it, that's not the kind of minimalist I'm talking about. I'm just talking about how to have a minimalist mindset so you're not carrying around a ton of stuff you don't need, but even if you have a lot of stuff, you know that it's only the stuff that you need and it's not as overwhelming. So the people that could benefit from this video are people who have a chronic illness, or if you don't, you might just be going on a long trip in maybe a van cross country. You need to pack your little tiny van kitchen, or maybe you are going on an international trip. This can also apply to you. You just won't do any grocery shopping up front, obviously. Or you might just bring a couple of things and want to plan your food for budgeting purposes, or maybe you're going to a second home or an Airbnb. Now, you guys on Instagram also requested that I do a reel. It was kind of split up between YouTube and posting a reel. So I'm going to be posting a reel with some of the highlights from this video. I'll also be including this video in a blog post this week with a couple of tips and tricks below. A lot of you guys, it was totally split up. Definitely the YouTube video won, but some of you also wanted a blog post, some of you wanted a reel with a blog post, so I'm just going to be trying to give you guys the best of all three worlds. So how I start is breaking it into two lists, basically things I need to buy, like food and toiletry items if I don't have any, and items I can get at home. Including some things that I can find in the pantry, clothes, and etc. The food portion of this is more for people with chronic illness, or if you do want to budget and plan really in depth what you want to be eating every day on your upcoming trip. I find that it's really important for me as someone with chronic illness to just kind of overplan, in the sense that I want to know all of the meals that I'm going to be making, because then it just takes a lot of stress out of the trip itself, and I just have to go to the grocery store and I know exactly what I'm getting. So from there, I go in and break down both of these lists. For the food, I break it down into breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks and desserts and drinks if I want to get really specific, especially if I'm going grocery shopping once I get to my destination. The way that I start doing this is with a calendar. I won't stick to this schedule per se, but it just helps me to plan out each meal. So I'll go in and write down when I'm arriving, so I'll count out from there how many lunches, dinners, and breakfasts that I will need on the trip, and then basically write out like a little meal plan for myself and things that I'm going to want to be eating, and then I'll go into those recipes and break those down into all of the things that I'll be needing and just compile them all together and do the work up front so that I don't have to spend time doing this in the grocery store at the destination wasting time, or in the destination itself. You don't want to be sitting on a beach meal planning. Another important thing to know, and a hard lesson that I learned, was plan on leftovers. You don't need to make dinner every single night, especially if you're traveling alone or with just 2 people. You can make meals that are meant for 4 people and then save it for lunch or dinner the next day. For the home portion of the packing list, I break it down into clothes, bathroom, kitchen, and general home items. So for this trip, I am definitely bringing my yoga mat because we're going to be there for about 2 weeks, and yoga and stretching is really important for my stomach. I have Crohn's disease, by the way, if you're new here. So stretching and being really mindful of my meditation routine and sticking with my routine is really important. So even though it might seem that I'm overpacking in a sense, I am packing for comfort and stability, and I can definitely afford to this time because we're going to be driving down there and I have the room in the car, so it's not that big of a deal or really overwhelming as long as I'm using everything that I bring. So the next thing that I do from here, I try to start this all, by the way, about 3 weeks in advance, or whenever I know. I get really excited when I find out that I'm going to be going on a trip, and so I will usually start making the lists way in advance, but ideally you start this like 3 weeks out, which seems a little bit excessive, but if you have a chronic illness, this is especially important because then if you're not feeling well before the trip, you've got it all sorted out. You don't have to worry about it. So around 2 weeks before, I like to follow myself around for a day and do like a day in the life of Emily, in the sense that I write down every single thing that I'm using. I do have like lists from past trips now that I just referred to, but if you haven't like made a comprehensive list, I would just follow yourself around for a day and just be really mindful of everything that you're using. And then from there, you have a big long list of everything that you use and eat throughout the day. And like your morning routine and your nighttime routine, and from there I just go in and kind of pare down like what can I realistically go without for a week or two or however long this trip is, and then write down from there and add to my food and like what I need to buy list, any toiletries that I might want to get travel size versions of, or if I'm missing like travel size containers, I can make sure to go out and buy those when I go out and get any food that I might need or things from the store for the trip. So about a week before, I will start packing my clothes, or at least start putting together outfits and start getting outfits in mind. If I'm going somewhere that I've never been before or like a different climate, then I will do this a little bit sooner, like maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks out, just because then if I need to order any clothes, I can make sure that I have time to do that. The reason why I like to pack a little bit soon in advance is because I find that if I pack last minute, the stuff that I do want to bring ends up being a lot more than I anticipated. I'm sure you guys can relate. And I like doing it in advance because then it's not as stressful last minute trying to figure out what you can cut out to make everything fit. And the longer that it sits on your floor, the more that you realize that you probably don't need to bring it because it is taking up a lot of space. And so I just kind of slowly pull things out and then eventually have like a very small amount of clothes. And usually the ideal way to do this is to cut your clothes in half, because you don't actually wear everything that you end up bringing, in my experience. So I just try to make sure that I have a good amount of comfy clothes for in case I'm not feeling well because of the chronic illness, and nice clothes. But yeah, that's essentially how I do it. I just cut it out, cut a lot of things out that I don't need that way by doing it early. Another tip is to try to do laundry abroad or on your trip. So bring quarters. I usually bring like a little $10 roll of quarters with me if I'm staying in the US, and I will do my laundry while I'm there, because then that way I only have to bring like a maximum week's worth of items. Another thing that I use that is super helpful is packing cubes, and I just got mine off Amazon. I will try to link them below if I can, but I got them a couple of years ago. Basically, they just are compression cubes. You can Google them if you want, and they have 2 different sides. So if I can't do laundry, I have 2 sides, so my dirty laundry and my clean laundry, they don't mix together, and then in the middle there's a zipper, and it just compresses down your clothes and creates a lot more space in your suitcase. Packing cubes are also really nice because you can just unzip them and pop them into the drawers, and then your clothes aren't really potentially touching dirty drawers, but it just looks like the drawer is really neat and organized, and it makes you feel instantly more like you're at home, and it feels so homey to unpack. And I hate living out of a suitcase. I don't know if you guys relate, but I love putting my clothes in drawers the first thing like when I get to my destination, because it just instantly makes me feel like I'm at home and I'm relaxed. So the week before I go on a trip, I finalize my calendar. So in my calendar for myself, like daily, not the food calendar, in my weekly and daily calendar, I will go in and plop in laundry. I will finalize my lists on a certain day. I'll make sure to do any last minute things and like really schedule it out, because having a little sticky note to-do list never actually works for me. I need to actually put it in the calendar. So if you have a planner or you use Google Calendar, which is what I use, I will go in and schedule time to do these things. Otherwise they will not get done and I'll be rushing around last minute. So like find your passport, find your license, like make sure you have everything that you need. And another important thing that I do before I go is making sure that I clean my sheets, do my laundry, clean my room, make sure everything is put away. so that when I come home, I'm coming home to a clean room. Speaking of, I just realized that I haven't transferred my laundry over to the dryer and I'm leaving soon, so I should probably go do that. Another little tip that I have is to have a pamper night before you go and to make sure that you get everything done the night before. This way you can make sure that you have a good night's sleep before you go. You don't have anything to do except for put in your last toiletries and have a good breakfast before your trip. I find this is so much more relaxing and it starts the trip off on the right note, and it just feels so good to have like a good pamper night. Like, I don't know about you, but I like to shave, I like to tan, I like to do my hair and makeup and make sure that my nails are done before a trip because it just makes the trip feel so much better. And then the last thing that I do is just quickly go through all my clothes again and make sure that I didn't like pull apart too many outfits. I kind of tend to take a lot of things out that I originally put in, but then realize that I don't have outfits anymore once I get to my destination. So I just go back through all my clothes one more time to make sure that I have actual outfits, and sometimes I'll have to add a couple of more things in, but it's just how it goes. So I'll just make sure that I have a bunch of good outfits and that are ready to go, pack everything up nice and neatly, and cross everything off of my lists. And then this is also about the time that I will start putting together any food that I need for my pantry. I will have already gone grocery shopping if I needed to like get peanut butter. If I know that I have a certain peanut butter that I like, then I'll just make sure that I bring some of that so that if there isn't anywhere I'm going, that's not a huge deal, like I said. So this is about the time where I get everything ready to go, like 2 days before, because then that way I can just really enjoy the day before and the night before, and get really excited for the trip and not be stressed out. So that's all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know if you could hear my stomach. It has been making crazy noises because I just had breakfast and woke up. But I'm gonna go switch my laundry over to the dryer now and get ready and finish packing because I am leaving today for the Cape, and I'm so excited because I haven't really gone anywhere because it's COVID right now, and I'm looking forward to having like a little mini vacation and getting ready for Christmas. So I hope you guys had a lovely Thanksgiving and are enjoying the beginning of your holiday season. My name is Emily. Please feel free to check me out on thelovelydigest.com and The Lovely Digest on Instagram. Again, I'll link that below, but I appreciate you all. I love you all and hope you have a wonderful day.